Darling? Darling. There you are. I finally got your attention. You've been quite absent lately. And I don't mean that in a physical sense. Has something been on your mind? Anxious? About what? No. You think I will lose interest in you and stop loving you just because you're a human? You humans, always getting anxious over the most trivial things. I know. Just another anxiety thing. That'll pass. Let me tell you what. I have a story. I bet it'll get your mind off of things. Do you want to hear it? All right. Well, let's see. Around 1,000 years ago, I was roaming the earth. I was already around 60 years old by then, but I still looked as young as ever. The people back then, though, they were in a rave about the turn of the first millennium, and that it was the end of times because a few false prophets said so. Can you believe that? Then again, some people still believe those false prophets, even today. I mean, you won't believe the amount of religions that came from these so-called prophets. Some of them are still around today. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. One of these so-called prophets was a woman. She claimed that she could see the future, but it seemed that no one really believed her. She also told me that she foresaw my arrival. What did I do with her? Well, I asked the future, obviously. I asked for my future, to be specific. It was because I saw a little bit of magic within her. Her magic is nothing compared to mine, but she may have a unique skill that I didn't know about. And well, she was very perceptive, at least compared to other humans. She immediately saw through me. She immediately noticed that I was not a human. But instead of running away in fear or cowering, begging for their life, they were excited. That's because they never used their powers on a vampire before. Well, I mean, wouldn't you get a little excited if you had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity like that? And so we proceeded. She took her time analyzing my future. She said she saw something beautiful in my future. The arrival of a person whose eyes captured the beauty of the world, but always seemed to be looking for a way in life's endless shadowy roads. She described them as being the most thoughtful person, kindness unrivaled by anyone, and with a soul that shines so bright that it made the moon and the sun look like a shadow in comparison. She said that I'd meet this person in years to come, and that I'd know when it was truly them in front of me. Fast forward later to 1019 AD. I was in Jerusalem. Yes, I was in Jerusalem. Yes, that Jerusalem. No, I didn't burn Jerusalem, even though I'm a vampire. Yes, I know it's the Holy Land, but whatever. Where was I? Oh, yes, right. Anyway, in Jerusalem, I met a girl. I interacted with her for just a few nights. We got so close in such a short span of time. But then I found out that her family had sold her to be a bride for someone else. When she told me this, she asked me if I could take her away from them. And, being me, of course I obliged. We lived together for about 60 years. Back then, humans didn't live as long as they do now. She was lucky to have reached this age at all. But living back then, living long for a human, has its downsides. She was struck with an illness, and she became very frail. And I knew that she wouldn't last long. So, when I was at her deathbed, I made a promise. I promised that I'd find her again in her next life, and we'd live happily together again. And yes, I did find her again. When? Well, it was around the 1200s in France. I was simply just walking around one day when I saw this shy little artist. She was sharpening a piece of coal and then drawing on small pieces of parchment that she kept in her pocket. For some reason, her scent is just so nostalgic that I was drawn in immediately. I stayed around them for a while, and, well, call me cheeky for doing this, but I would accidentally bump into them from time to time. One day, I noticed her sketching something. I was far away, so I couldn't really see it. So I went a little bit closer, and I realized that she was sketching me. I teased her about it a little. Of course, I received a nice little punch on the shoulder. I teased her about it from time to time, but I was also impressed with her artistic skills. She was so talented. I took my time in courting her. We enjoyed our nights, had romantic dates, not too dissimilar from the ones we have now. Call me old-fashioned, but having a bottle of wine in the middle of a park at night is a really good time for me. Oh, don't act like you don't enjoy the moonlight and the quietness of night. You're a lot cheekier than I am. Do you want me to continue my story or not? Of course you do. Anyway, someone had noticed that most of our activities together were done in the night. And that someone couldn't keep their mouth shut, and they reported it to the church. When the church found out about us, they took her away from me in the daylight. I couldn't stand in daylight back then, not as much as I could now. And, well, I was only able to recover her remains after that. And as for revenge, I found the priest who dispatched the orders. You can guess what happened after. It was such an ugly sight. Oh, sorry. I did not mean to sound all sadistic over there, but you should have been used to that by now. How did I feel about it? Well, how did you think I feel about it? I was heartbroken, angry, at a loss. Wouldn't you be? Ah, well, let's skip to 1662. I'd been traveling for about 400 years. Not much has changed of me. But I realized that the world was rapidly changing. I went to London. There I stayed for a while. And during my stay there, I noticed that familiar scent again. That sweet, nostalgic scent. I followed that scent into a theater. There, I saw a girl performing the stage. I was so mesmerized by their performance that I'd come every night just to see them perform again. One day they approached me. They said that they've been seeing me through the crowds from time to time. And well, I apologized because I thought I was creepy. But they said they didn't think I was creepy. I thanked her for her kindness towards me, and then I complimented her talent on stage. The beauty, the performance, the theatrics, just simply astonishing. It wasn't really long before we lived together. We lived together for nearly a decade, in fact. Until one of the nobles watching at the theater decided he wanted more than to just watch. I was filled with anger when I heard what had happened to her. And again, I was unable to recover much after that. What did I do to the noble? Well, nothing much. I just showed them a little taste of hell. They call it the Great Fire of London. Well, sorry about that. Well, I realize the story's supposed to be comforting, but now it's just turning into a bit of a sad story, isn't it? It has a nice ending, I assure you. Yes, I promise it has a nice ending. Although, be prepared for a little bit more sadness. The next time I found her reincarnation was in 1820. She was a war veteran. She disguised herself as a man in order to fight. Thankfully, with a little bit of help from me, she was able to survive the wars she fought in. I did my best to protect her from the shadows. After the war, she went to a little hospital for the mentally ill. I disguised myself as a doctor and got in with her. Every night, she had nightmares, always having trouble falling asleep. So, in order for her to sleep soundly, I often had to hypnotize her. I took care of them for nearly a century, in fact. They tried to reciprocate my love towards them, but they were too far gone in their head. She didn't even notice that I'd been the same age all along after all these years. Maybe they thought it was just their mind, playing tricks on them. And as for their end, well, they left the world peacefully in their sleep, thank goodness. And then we come to today. Now you may be wondering why I told you such a long-winded story. And I told you it was to comfort you and to reassure you. What do I mean? Well, it's my proof. My proof to you that your anxieties are, well, for naught, for lack of a better word. Don't you see? I've been finding you for many centuries now. And every time, it seems like I've only grown deeper in love with you. Oh, that question, again and again. Why did I never turn you into a vampire like me? Well, because I didn't want you to be limited under the cloak of night, dear, and to bear witness as the world changes before your eyes, and it slowly becomes more and more foreign to you as you age. I wanted you to live life as a human, the life that I cowered away from. This is to show you that I can love you forever, even if it means that I lose you every now and again. I love you, my dear human, my love, my countess.